Yay!
First meeting,
Welcome
then
back,
walk.
everybody, to our virtual hiking club meeting. And we get to travel across the Atlantic Ocean again to a very special place with our special guest, Sharon Stolberg.
No.
Sharon is here because she has done this trail. She's done this route last fall.
Yeah.
And she shared a lot of pictures with me that I'll get to share with you. We'll get the inside scoop from her about her trek over there, what it was like, the people that she met, the trails she was on, some of things that we wouldn't know about until we talked to someone who's done it. So everyone, please give Sharon a big round of applause, a big welcome.
Thank you, Tyrese.
Yes, you are.
So,
It makes me feel special, Tyrese.
So I have.
That makes me want to take a nap because he's just so comfortable.
That's the benefit of being able to do this from home. You get to find a comfortable spot to zoom in from. So everyone, just a little more on Sharon. She is an avid rock climber and a cyclist. She's a hiker. She is an active woman and also teaches here in the Chattanooga area. So we're excited to have her join us again. It's been a while since we've seen her in person, just like
I know.
all of you. So what we have is a slideshow of Sharon's pictures, and I had a short video about the Camino, but I'm going to hold on to that video to see if we have time for it. And we'll go through with Sharon describing some of her journey. And if you have a question, please raise your hand or mention it in the chat box, or if you want to pipe in real quick. But please remember, we're trying to be respectful of one another and not talk over one another as we go through this presentation.
Michelle, just to let you know, Emily's here. Emily.
Wonderful. Emily, I'm glad you're here. So without further ado, I am going to share my screen. So you
Michelle,
can see.
maybe have everybody mute so that only the speaker's talking right during this part, so we don't have just interruptions too. Might be a good idea.
Yeah, that is a great idea, that you can mute yourself, and then if you have a question, you can unmute yourself to ask the question or type it in the chat box. Okay. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
It's black, but it says your started screen sharing.
There we go. There we go.
Okay. Sharon, I will let you kind of describe what we're seeing in these pictures, starting with this very first one here.
Okay, so this was us the last day of our, that we had been on the trail. This is in Santiago. When we got to the church, which signifies the end of the Camino de Santiago. So we had been on the trail for 6 days. We did 117 kilometers, which is approximately 76 miles. Because in Europe and other countries, they use the metric system. So they use kilometers instead of miles. So we had pushed. I was in a chair for the majority of this. I'm kind of in the middle there, in a chair, because the distance was just too much for me to walk. So I was pushed by a group of wonderful volunteers that came over.
Which one to you again? I keep forgetting.
Huh?
Oh, go ahead,
Sharon. They just came over. They heard about the idea that Justin and Patrick did, and I'll talk more about Justin and Patrick. And Justin's the one in the middle in the chair. He's in the very middle. He's a larger gentleman. There, yeah. Michelle's circling with her cursor. That's Justin, and Patrick's behind him with a big old smile on his face, because they had done the entire 500 miles of the Camino a few years before. And so many people expressed interest in how they did it, because this is not a paved trail. None of it is paved. The closest thing to being, there was some areas that were paved, but the majority of it was trail, was rock and dirt and tree roots or cobblestone. And cobblestone with a wheelchair is not paved. It's not much fun. So, but we had a group of like 50 people, and there was 29 pushers, 29 or 30 pushers. And yeah, they pushed us 117 kilometers.
Wow. And
So,
Sharon, can you tell us about this mile marker here? What is here at the top of it? And what are you using to hike with?
yes, hang on 1 second. Hang on 1
Okay.
second.
And if y'all didn't know, this is Sharon right here in the chair when she used the chair, but you can tell she's not only using the chair, she was also using these devices here. Which
Yeah, that's why I wanted to know whether that was one of my questions, whether those were called.
Well, those are just hiking poles.
Hiking
They're
poles.
black diamond hiking poles. They are carbon fiber, so they're really light but really sturdy. And you can get them. Rock Creek and Black Diamond donated those to me for my trip, but you can buy them at REI, Rock Creek. You know, you can even buy a cheaper version. They're heavier, but at Walmart. I do, the carbon fiber made a huge difference.
nice.
But we were doing between 12 to 18 miles a day, and you can see that is not paved. So I didn't get to walk as much as I wanted to. You know, I'm just too slow. But the good thing is I could get out of my chair to go through some of the more intense sections. I could walk through that, and then the chair could just be bumped through. But you know, most everybody else didn't have that ability, and so they had to be carried through. And I was trying to get a couple of our pushers to come on, but they were all working and couldn't come at 3 o'clock. So, but I tried.
Yeah.
But so you'll see Mike and Kimberly that were there in that other picture with me, and they're not related, but we just got this really cool bond. Mike pushed me probably three of the days, and Kimberly was with me probably every day. Just amazing people. Mike's from Washington, and Kimberly's from Colorado.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Very nice.
And people we'd never met. We didn't know. You know, we hadn't met any of them before the trip, except the two that I went with. You know, I went with Carly and Leslie. And some of you may know Carly Pearson, but she's they both live in Knoxville.
Okay.
So this mile marker here that you see, both of those are symbols of the Camino. The shell at the top, okay, and you'll see pictures of the shell later, but the reason they chose the shell is because you see the lines in the shell, and there's so many different trails that lead to the same place. And so each of those lines represents kind of a different trail to get to Santiago. So the pilgrims would take. This is a pilgrimage trail that's been going on for thousands of years. Yeah. So, and it all goes to the same place, to Santiago, to the church in Santiago. So, yeah. And the arrow points you in your direction and tells you how many more kilometers you have to the end. Okay.
Were these members of your hiking party?
Yes. So, so to the right, that's Justin, and him and Patrick, who's standing there, in the brown shirt, did the entire 500 kilometers in 2012, I believe.
And that video we did send out to everybody, and I know some of you all had a chance to watch it. So yeah, we have some of the background of their story there.
It's an amazing friendship, you know, it's just an amazing friendship. And the gentleman and the orangish shirt sitting there is Justin's oldest son, Jaden. And he came and, you know, was there to help push and help take care of his father and whatnot. Yeah. So, and then the other two were pushers that came.
And I have a question for you, Sharon. The
Yes.
pushers that were involved, how did they join this adventure?
You know, it's they had to apply. They had to pay their own way. You know, it was just, I mean, you know, it was amazing. I don't know how exactly everybody found the call out for help on this. I really haven't any earthly idea how we all managed there to get there all at the same time, and but they all found this, you know, asking for help to do this, and these people applied and were selected to come.
Wow.
And they paid their own way and they trained on their own, and it was really amazing because there were so many people from so many different states that
that is.
tried to do this. And you know, some had never had any training or had no idea how to push a wheelchair, and some, we had a couple that they push wheelchairs in marathons, so they had more of an idea. So it was just really, you know, it was really neat how we all came together.
That is very
Yeah.
cool. What do you remember what lake this is, or what body of water where you were on the trail? when you
No
took this picture?
idea. We were going into Santiago there, if I remember correctly. It's, you know, I've saw it a few times since then. And I must admit, some of my days are a little foggy because it was just such a whirlwind, and with the time change and everything, because it's 6 hours ahead. So, you know, but I believe we were going into Santiago there, so that would have been on the last day. But I can't remember what body of water that was.
Okay. And this, I loved this picture to see some of the trail. Was a lot of the trail like this with the rock walls on the side and the
Yeah, it was probably a third of it was like that. Yeah, with the moss, and I'm a big moss rock person anyway, and trees, and it was shaded every morning. You know, you had to have a jacket on. I'd take my jacket off and had to put it back on, and take it off in the sun and put it back on. You know, yeah, kind of like here in the fall. You know, it was a little more drizzly and hazy and, you know, foggy in the morning. You know, they said it wasn't raining, but I said it was raining because it was misting so bad. It was hard on the arthritis, but there, a lot of the trails looked like that, a lot of up and down. So a lot of times it took two or more people to pull uphill, or to keep me from, you know, going down too fast, downhill.
Right. I was trying to get to a picture where we showed some of that.
So there's the shell at one of the albergues.
What kind of animal is that?
One before.
You want me to go back to the shell?
You can. But this was one of the, and I don't remember which albergue it was. I don't remember, but you can see it there. But an albergue is like a hostel where a whole bunch of people spend a little bit of money, and they, you know, for a place to stay overnight. So
nice.
It was, they averaged about 10 euros a night, which is only like $12 American dollars. So
very nice. What about this picture here? Were you in Santiago?
No, here, let's see, where was I? This was in my really foggy day. This was, I believe, the very first day out. So I won't talk about the plane ride over there, but I was operating on next to no sleep, and having been up for 30 some hours already, plus having to get out on a trail. And half of my luggage did not show up actually, the majority of my luggage did not show up for 2 days. So I did not have my free wheel there. We were going into Puerto Moran that day. So we were starting off in Sarria is where we started from. So that was probably in between Sarria and Puerto Moran.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And all along the trail in the little villages, there's always little churches to stop at, and you go in. And what's cool about the trail, the Camino, is you have a little passport, but it's not the passport to get you into different countries. It's a passport that it's stamped. So in order to technically finish the trail, you have to have your passport stamped 3 or 4 times a day. As you walk, you go to a church, and they'll have somebody that'll, like a priest or a volunteer, will stamp your book. Or sometimes they have people that are just selling wares, or at the albergues or the restaurants, they'll have stamps, and you stamp your book. And every stamp is different, which is kind of cool.
Nice.
So, and this
yeah.
on the side, as you can see, this is why I wanted this picture in here, because here we all are. There's several of us there. And the lady on the very right, who's facing the camera, she's the farmer, and she's herding her cattle. So we're walking right through a farm. And she got us to come to help. And somebody said it was like the running of the bulls, but I had to inform them later that none of them were bulls. They were all female. So even with the horns, they were female. They were female cows.
Huh.
So this is Andy, who's in the chair. There was an area we had a water crossing. It wasn't a very deep one, as you can see, but still getting wheelchairs through, you know. And this is one of the areas that I was able to cross on a makeshift, it was a half of a tree bridge. And they just took my wheelchair through, carried it across. But most people, as you can see, Tim is there on the left, and just drew a blank. Anyways, are having to guide the wheelchairs through. So they're getting wet.
Yeah.
They're getting wet.
So this trail wasn't always easy.
No. No, and this was the easier section of it.
Oh, wow. What's happening here in this picture?
Okay, so the lady in the middle is blind. She's visually impaired. And so they are guiding her across what I just said that I crossed, and I was able to get up and do that. You see that log? That's the bridge. And that's what we were crossing. So they're helping her cross. Now, can you imagine doing that and not being able to see where you're going and having people guide you through the whole thing? And having to trust them that you're not gonna, fall off that log.
Right. That takes a lot of trust.
Mm-hmm. Sure does. So some of you may recognize the person in the middle. I don't know if any of you do. Michelle, you probably do. That's Carly Pearson. She lives in Knoxville. She went with me. And then Justin is there. And you can tell it's been raining because you see we're all in rain gear.
Mm-hmm.
So, and here's, just that's an area where people were just able to push.
Nice.
So here's an example of pulling back as we're going downhill. This is Graham, and Graham in the wheelchair, and Graham is from Australia. He is a Vietnam veteran who earned the second highest award in Australian military capabilities.
Wow.
And his best friend is there hanging on to his chair because you're going downhill there. So, yeah.
Amazing.
So this is a really cool view. I can't remember what day that is. I'm sorry. I might have been going into Santiago that day, but then there were several days that we had some really cool views like that. But yeah.
7 days?
We were on the trail 6 days. I was actually there 10 days.
10?
10 days, Philip, yes.
By Hawkins' chair.
Well, and you'll get to see some really cool pictures, I think, of the end of the world.
Okay, well, we'll get there.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so this is at the end. This is Carly, Leslie, and I. Carly and Leslie are from Knoxville. And there's me. And that was at the end. That was after, we had just gotten into the square. And then here's the picture there with the two statues are pilgrims. That's the statues representing pilgrims pointing the way to Santiago. So you followed them. And so there's a picture of Carly, Leslie, Justin, Patrick, and myself.
Oh, nice. You look pretty excited there, Sharon.
Yeah, I finally started to recover, but that was still a hard day. Like I remember, I mean, how you fall asleep in a wheelchair going over bumps and cobblestone and stuff, but I was literally doing it because I was running literally every night on 3 to 4 hours sleep at max.
Wow. Sharon, we've got a question for you. Kendall, thanks for raising your hand. What's your question?
So, Sharon, I just noticed in the first photo that you were right here, and you were like laying over and kind of crying a little bit right there.
Yeah, I am. It was very emotional getting to the square because it took so many people to come together to make this happen.
Yeah,
So,
that's pretty incredible.
It really was. And they were all, what was cool is none of us knew each other except the three of us, you know, people that traveled together. But as a group, I didn't know any of the pushers except Leslie. And we formed now bonds that we still talk. A lot of us still talk regularly, 2 and 3 times a week.
That's amazing. Sharon, how many people did you say were in the group total?
There was almost 50.
Wow.
Yeah.
50.
Yeah, there was 13, I think, you know, and I used to be able to recall this just like nothing, and now it's gone. There was 13 of us that had disabilities, and there was 29 pushers. So whatever the math is for that, 43, something like that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's amazing.
Yeah. But you can tell there's a lot of people there. It looks more than 43. But here's the thing is in this picture, there's several of the guides. So to the right, at the back there, the guy in the yellow shirt over a few, there's the guides are there, and then Ada's in there somewhere as well. So there's probably 6 other people in there that were guides. And then there was some people that were just, that just got involved. They heard about it and they went and met the group. And even if they didn't get, you know, like accepted, or they didn't have time, you know, to go through their process of getting, you know, interviewed and all that. So they just went out there and did their own Camino at the same time and met up with us and walked with us. So it was just really amazing how it all came together and happened.
Mm-hmm. And is this the end?
No, we were just getting ready to go into Santiago. Okay. So that happened right before. That's right at the beginning of, you know, when you're going into Santiago. So, and there's the 3 of us, Leslie, myself, and Carly. Now this is in the square in Santiago. So you can see all the old architecture. It's just really, it was really cool. You could just, the history was just incredible.
That is.
Do they have restaurants?
They have lots of restaurants, Philip. And Octopus, your favorite. You need to go there.
Oh boy.
Philip, do you see that, Philip? Do you see that octopus?
Yeah.
Did you know what was coming next in our slideshow?
That's gross. I didn't like it at all. It was nasty. but I did like the chocolate and the cafe con leches. That's what they call coffee in Spain, is cafe con leche, and that means coffee with milk. And their coffee is amazing. But then and then the other is chocolate, and you eat those with churros. And churros are a little, they're like a little
sugar sticks. They're like sugar sticks.
Yeah, thank you. That's a good way to describe it. And I love the churros. The chocolate became a little bit too much after a while.
Well, it looks like it's a little thicker than our Nestle packets.
It does look delicious, though.
It was delicious. It was delicious. Yeah.
And did I hear correctly that this is octopus over here?
Yes, that's octopus. I agree.
Yum.
Philip says yum, and I said ew. There's something about eating something with suction cups that, I don't know, not my thing. It's
I'd say chewy.
Yes, very chewy. And that's a picture on the left of the church. And then on the right is the inside of the church.
Wow, it's huge.
Oh, it's huge. It's crazy. And also, Pope Francis, oh, which one? Pope John Paul, I believe, is entombed in that church.
Okay.
I think there's another one too. I should remember. This is a picture of Finisterre. This is the end of the world, as they called it back before we knew better. But in Spain, back 1,000 years ago, Spain ends there. The only thing you've got is the Atlantic Ocean. And so they called it the end of the world.
The end of the world?
The end of the world. In Finisterre.
Huh.
Finisterre,
Really?
Spain. Really? It's not.
Do
Is
they
it
have
really the
fishing?
end of the world? Philip, is it really the end of the world? Do we know better now? Yeah, it's not really. But they thought so before they realized the earth was round. They thought that was the end of the world because they didn't have planes or anything. So that was the end to them. So this is in Moshe. And I really wish that picture I'd brightened it up a little bit, but it was overcast and kind of rainy that
Another
day.
word for a lot of the boats in this place is actually called a marina. And actually, you've seen a marina before.
Yes, and
we
it
were driving
is
up
a marina. It's a fishing marina, but the boats are so pretty colored. They've painted them in bright colors. And like I say, the place, the actual city or town is called Moshe, and it's Moxia, but it's pronounced Moshe.
Moshe?
Moshe, and it's a fishing village, and you got to watch people go out and go fishing. They
Really?
get in their boats and and it wasn't like with the line. They had nets. Yeah, they were catching fish.
No fishing lines?
Not like you like to fish, Philip. No, these guys had nets. So they were doing it for survival. That's how they made their money.
Really?
Yeah. So this is, I believe, also in Moshe.
I think Philip would enjoy Moshe.
I think he would.
I enjoy Moshe.
You would definitely enjoy Moshe, especially if you get some octopus.
Yeah, I enjoy Moshe.
So, and this is in Moshe. That's Leslie down there. But that's the Atlantic Ocean.
Wow.
And that's all you can see.
I knew it. I knew it.
And tell us, what is this, Sharon?
So this is at the end. If you submitted your passport with all your stamps, and there's people that check it, and they make sure that you have the right number of stamps for what you did, and then you started in Syria, or you can start further back. But you have to go from the minimum, the smallest number of miles you can do is 117 kilometers in order to get your certificate that you finished. And it's so after they check it, then they give you the certificate that says that you've completed the pilgrimage to Santiago. So, and I have one in my storage unit now somewhere. But yeah, it's a what I call it? What is it? Anyway.
And Sharon, does it look like the one on the left or the one on the right?
It looks like the one on the left. And they translate your name, which is kind of cool, into into that language. But mine didn't translate.
Translate my name?
Yeah.
Translate my name?
Yes, but mine didn't translate any different. So mine was like, it's Italian. I think it's Italian. I can't remember, but yeah. Anyways, we had somebody got it all that translated for us later so that we knew what it actually said.
Wow.
And it was really awesome. Well, and I have to admit that this is absolutely the truth. However, on that trip, there was no eating half. We ate a lot. And baguettes are a big thing over there on the trail, which is bread and which is sandwiches. But the bread is like really thick and hard. It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to chew. You know you've eaten something when you eat it. But there's a lot of bread and not as much meat. But their eggs over there are phenomenal because they're free range chickens everywhere, and that's where they get their eggs from.
Wow. Wow. And I'll just read this for everyone real quick, Sharon, this Tibetan proverb, that the secret to living well and longer is to eat half, or if you're hiking the Camino, to eat more, to walk double, to laugh triple, and to love without measure.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Sharon, that is pretty incredible how you did that.
So I'll open it up now to questions that people have for Sharon about any of the pictures or her trip. Philip, it looks like you've got a question.
Yeah, looks like
I love octopus.
I know.
Yeah, we know, Philip. We know.
They're like 8
Okay, give us a break
legs.
about the
Yeah, 8 legs.
Don't
Legs
I have a
weird.
question.
Yes, Elaine?
Those.
So, has anybody besides Philip and Sharon eaten octopus before?
Oh, me.
I didn't love it.
It was pretty chewy.
Chewy. Yeah.
It was pretty chewy.
I struggled a little bit on their food over there, but now the pasta in Santiago was amazing.
Pasta in Santiago?
Yeah, pasta in Spain. There's lots of pasta.
And
Really?
Kendall,
What
do you
kind
have
of pasta
another
is
question?
this?
So, Sharon, that trip was pretty amazing how you can do that. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. I admit it was pretty awesome. And
But the hard thing was they can barely walk, so the closest people they can get was helping you move your wheelchair for you. So that was really
That's right.
sweet.
That's right.
That's
You're
so sweet of
really
them.
brave. You're a brave woman,
Mhm.
Sharon.
Thank you, Philip.
Oh, that's sweet, Philip.
So
Oh,
I looked
Emily.
it up,
Oh,
and
Emily.
117, I don't know if you can see that or not, but 117 kilometers is 72.7 miles.
There
So
we
that
go.
Wow.
you can get an idea. That's a long way to walk.
Yeah, I would not want to. No.
And 6 days. That was a long way.
That is
Yeah.
I
was-
would not want to walk for 6 days. No.
Okay.
No,
We
thank you.
didn't eat dinner till like 9-10 o'clock at night.
Oh,
at-
What
gosh.
hotel did you spend the night?
It was exhausting. And then by the time you got into the hotel and went to bed, it was midnight. And then you're getting up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning to do it again.
What hotel did you spend the night?
Iris, what are you doing?
Nothing. Oh, no.
I saw you. I saw you dancing. I saw that.
Which hotel did you spend the night?
Which hotel? What was it? Philip, that's a great question, and I don't remember.
I'm assuming there were several.
Well,
Several.
Deborah,
Well,
what the?
there was, but we went back to Santiago every night because of the accessibility issue.
Really?
Mhm.
Really?
So they had to bus us every day to different, locations where we would start the trail. But most of the albergues, which are the little hostels, they're not wheelchair accessible. So there was only one hotel that was accessible. And that's the one we stayed at.
So,
Which hotel?
typically, if someone doesn't have wheelchair, they would continue and they wouldn't be bused back to
No, you would just stay at albergues. It would actually be a lot cheaper trip because you could stay at the albergues, which are like 10 to
Oh,
15.
Emily just says something. Emily says, how much time do we leave?
So
Right.
Emily's pointing out, we're coming near to the end of our time together. And if you have to leave, we understand. We did get started a little later. So I want to at least say this about Sharon and her trip. is that what's really amazing is she showed us how many different ways there are to hike this trail, and that you can hike with your feet, you can hike with your hiking poles, you can hike with these chairs, and with the assistance of friends to help get you to your destination and to your end goal. And Sharon,
And there's even bike trails you can do on the Camino now.
that's right. There are.
Right.
There are. Sharon, those were incredible pictures, and we're so thankful you could join us for our meeting today.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Let's give her a round of applause, everybody.
Yes, give up a block.
Bravo, bravo. Encore.
So thank you, everyone. What I am going to do is, for those of you that want to learn more, we can say our goodbyes now, and I'll share my screen with a 4-minute video on some final details about the trail itself. Okay? So again, Sharon, thank you. Great to see you all. You can stay on and watch this video, or you can head out, and we'll see you next Tuesday for the next hiking location to be announced on Friday morning.
Woo.
Hey,
Thank you, Sharon. Have fun
Thank
on
you,
your
Sharon.
next adventure.
Thank you.
thank you, Sharon, for having our next adventure.
Okay, you're
Thank you.
welcome.
You're very inspiring.
Thank you.
On the scale of 1 to 10, you are 110%.
Oh, Philip. Give me a big head, Philip.
I know, that's right.
All right, see y'all.
Bye, Sharon.
Bye,
Thank
Sharon.
you.
Talk to you, Sharon.
Can't wait till we can see you face to face.
Hi, this is Maria from CaminoWays.com. Are you getting ready for your Camino de Santiago? These are 20 interesting Camino de Santiago facts you should know before you set off. 1. Camino de Santiago means Way of St. James and refers to the different routes leading to Santiago de Compostela in Galicia. 2. Santiago de Compostela means St. James of the Field of Stars. 3. There are many Camino de Santiago routes starting in France, Portugal and Spain. 4. Traditionally, pilgrims used to start their Camino from their own homes. 5. The yellow scallop shell and the yellow arrows mark the way to Santiago, but careful, the scallop shell might be facing different ways depending on the regions. 6. The Camino Primitivo from Oviedo is the oldest Camino de Santiago route. 7. However, the most famous Camino route is the Camino Francés, or French way, starting in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port in the French Pyrenees. 8. The trail from Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port to Santiago is 800 kilometers long and takes approximately 5 weeks to complete, but you can start your Camino at any point. 9. You need to walk at least 100 kilometers into Santiago to receive your Compostela certificate. 10. This makes Sarria, which is 111 kilometers away from Santiago, the most popular starting point for walkers. 11. You will need to cycle at least 200 kilometers to Santiago to receive your Compostela certificate, and cyclists on the Camino are known as bicigrinos. 12. Over 200,000 pilgrims arrive in Santiago each year and receive their Compostela certificate. Many more walk different sections of the routes. You have to travel for religious or spiritual reasons in order to receive your Compostela. 13. If you walk the Camino for cultural reasons, you can receive a certificate of welcome. 14. The pilgrim passport or credencial needs to be stamped at least once a day or twice a day if you are starting your Camino in Galicia. 15. The stamped pilgrim passport is required to stay in first-come, first-served albergues, which are public hostels, and walkers take priority over cyclists. Public hostels cannot be booked in advance. At CaminoWays.com, we book your accommodation with local guest houses and hotels, so you don't have to worry. 16. The 12th century Codex Calixtinus is the oldest Camino de Santiago guidebook. 17. The Camino is a long-distance trail with thousands of kilometers across Europe. The ways will combine off-road tracks with country trails, small roads, and pavement, particularly getting in and out of bigger towns and cities. 18. The kilometer zero of the Camino is actually not in Santiago, but in Cape Fisterra by the Atlantic Ocean, considered to be the end of the world and a place of magical powers for pre-Christian communities. 19. The 25th of July is St. James's Day, a holiday in Santiago in Galicia. If the 25th of July falls on a Sunday, it will be considered to be a holy year, or Anno Jacobeo. 20. Santiago de Compostela Old Town is a UNESCO-listed heritage site since 1985, and its university dates back to 1495. The Council of Europe named the Camino de Santiago as the first European cultural itinerary in 1987 for its important role encouraging cultural exchanges since the Middle Ages.
So there you go. Now you have it, the inside scoop on the Camino de Santiago. And Julie, it's good to see you.
She can hear us.
You're muted, Julie. There you go.
There we go.
Julie, I'm glad you could join on for that video to catch some of it.
Yeah, I'm sorry I got on so late. I was trying to do everything to get on the YouTube thing. I had some problems with it.
Oh, I'm sorry, Julie. Well, I'm glad you joined, and this is being recorded, and so we'll post it so you can watch what you missed if you want to.
Okay.
Okay. Well, everybody, thank you so much for coming back. I hope you learned something new and enjoyed those pictures with Sharon, our special guest. It was really great that she could join us.
I didn't see the special guest.
Oh, don't worry. When you see the video afterwards, you'll get to see her and hear all of her stories.
Okay.
At least what we could fit into about 30 minutes of time.
When is that at?
I'll get that posted to our YouTube channel. I'll let you know, okay?
Okay, thank you, Miss Steele.
You're welcome. All right, everybody. We'll see you next Tuesday, 3 o'clock.
How about